dear students, and welcome back. In this particular video we are going to discuss the storyline in brief, the plot summary. Now first, in Kritam, one of the tiniest villages in India, is introduced to the readers. Now we are informed that of the 700,000 villages dotting the map of India, Kritam was probably the tiniest, indicated on the district survey map by a microscopic dot. It was so small that even in a district survey map it was represented by just a microscopic dot. But its size did not prevent its giving itself the grandiose name, the impressive, grandiose means impressive, the impressive name Kritam, which in Tamil meant coronet or crown on the brow of this subcontinent. The village consisted of less than 30 houses, and only one of these 30 houses was built with the brick and cement, which was known as the big house. This big house was painted brilliant yellow and blue all over, with gorgeous carvings of gods and gargoyles. Gargoyles means a comically carved human or animal face or figure. It was known as the big house. The other houses that were there in the village were distributed in 4 streets, and they were generally made of bamboo thatch, straw, mud, and other unspecified material. Munni's house was the last house in the 4th street, beyond which stretched the fields. Now Munni, who is the protagonist of the story, was once an affluent cattle grazer. He had a flock of 40 sheep and goats, and he used to take his flock every morning to the highway a couple of miles away for grazing. There he would sit on the pedestal of a clay statue of a horse while his cattle grazed around. He carried a crook at the end of a bamboo pole and snapped foliage from the avenue trees to feed his flock. He also gathered faggots and dry sticks, bundled them together, and carried them home to be used as fuel at sunset. Now, though Munni had a flock of 40 sheep and cattle, but now his fortunes declined gradually as pestilence affected his cattle. He is now only left with 2 goats, which are too skinny, too thin to be sold or eaten. During his prosperous days, Munni's wife not only used to serve him salted miller flour in boiled water to eat at dawn, but also packed lunch for him. But now his riches were past, and he has no children. Their only source of income is from occasional jobs, such as his wife grinding corn in the big house, or sweeping or scrubbing somewhere. Now Munni's fortunes declined gradually unnoticed. From a flock of 40 sheep and goat, His stock had now come down to 2 goats, which were tethered to the trunk of a drumstick tree which grew in front of his house, and from which occasionally Munni could shake down drumsticks. And the day in which the incidents in the story takes place, Munni had managed to get 6 drumsticks. He carried those drumsticks with a sense of triumph, and although no one could precisely say who owned the tree, it was it was Munni's because he lived in its shadow. Now, when Munni carried those drumsticks to his wife said, "If you were content with the drumstick leaves alone, I could boil and salt some for you." So his wife wanted to cook the drumstick leaves, so she could boil some drumstick leaves and give some salt, add some salt also to it. However, Munni expressed his desire to chew the drumstick out of sauce. At this, his wife felt a bit annoyed and asked him to get the stuff for the sauce. That is, she demanded some measure of rice or millet, and she said that if Munni is able to get some rice or millet, she would satisfy the craving of Munni for the drumstick sauce. And she also informed Munni that the store was empty. So she asked Munni to get dal, chili, curry leaves, mustard, coriander, gingerly oil, and 1 large potato. Now Munni, having got the list from his wife, he repeated the list after her in order not to miss any item, and walked off to the shop which was in the 3rd street of the village. Now Munni sat patiently on an upturned packing case below the platform of the shop. However, the shopman paid no attention to him. Now, when he saw that the shopman was not paying any attention to him, Munni kept clearing his throat, coughing and sneezing until the shopman could not stand it any more, and demanded that what trouble did Munni have. And he also threatened Munni, saying that he would fly into the gutter if he sneezes so hard. And at this Munni laughed very inordinately, just to please the shopman at being addressed as a young man. This completely won the shopman over. He liked his sense of humor to be appreciated. And in this way, by humoring the shopman, Munni could always ask for 1 or 2 items of food, promising to repay for those items later. Some days the shopman used to be in good mood and he used to provide Munni with those items, but sometimes he used to lose his temper and shout at Munni for daring to ask for a credit. And when Munni demanded some items, the shopman also reminded Munni of his previous debt of 5 rupees and a quarter. He asked Munni to pay off that ancient debt. However, Munni assured him that he would clear all his dues on the 1st of the next month. And then the shopman, unsatisfied with the answer of Munni, asked him that how was Munni going to get that money? Whom was he going to rob to obtain that money? So Munni told him that his daughter had promised him that she would be sending him money. But as a matter of fact, we know that Munni did not have any daughter. He did not have any siblings. So the shopman also was aware of it, and he asked that, "Do you have any daughter?" And is she sending you money? For what purpose may I know? The shopkeeper inquired. Then Muni says that it is his birthday, 50th birthday. Okay. Then Muni repeated weekly, not being sure of his own birthday, not being sure of his own age, because he always used to calculate his age from the time of the great famine, when he stood as high as the parapet around the village well. But who could calculate such things accurately nowadays, because there were so many famines occurring? The shopman felt encouraged when other customers stood around to watch and comment. And one of them said that Munni appeared to be more like 70 years old. And he had forgotten that just a few weeks ago he had mentioned a birthday when he wanted castor oil for his holy bath. Now, at this, Munni understood that the shopman was not going to give him any commodity on credit. So, therefore, he rose up and moved off from there. He reached his home and told his wife that he could not get anything. So, at this, his wife got even more annoyed, and she asked Munni to go out and sell the drumsticks and get whatever money was possible. Now, after this, Munni takes the goats along and he moves to the highway. And while he was advancing towards the highway with his goats, the memories of his affluent past makes him nostalgic. He knew that if he obeyed his wife, she would somehow manage to arrange some food for him in the evening. The only precaution that Munni had to take was that he must be careful not to argue with her or to irritate her. Now, her temper was undependable in the morning but improved by evening time. Munni knew that she was sure to go out and work, grind corn in the big house, sweep or scrub somewhere, and earn enough to buy foodstuff and keep a dinner ready for him in the evening. So therefore Munni unleashed the goats from the drumsticks tree and started moving out, driving them ahead and uttering weird cries from time to time in order to urge them on. He passed through the village with the head bowed in thought. He did not want to look at anyone or to be addressed by anyone. Now, a couple of cronies who were longing there. Now, cronies here means friends, who were longing in the temple corridor, hailed him, welcomed him, but he ignored their call. And on his way, Munni kept on thinking about the words of the shopman. The shopman had told him that he looked to be 70. And Munni started wondering that when a man grows 70 years old, he could only wait to be summoned by God. And he started thinking that when he was dead, what would happen to his wife? They had lived so long in each other's company since they were children. He had been told on their day of wedding that he was 10 years old and she was 8 years old when they got married. They had no children, and perhaps Munni thought that a large progeny, large number of children would have brought him the blessings of the gods, because there would be more hands to work. Now, only when he reached the outskirts, he lifted his head and looked up. He urged and bullied the goats until they meandered along to the foot of the horse statue on the edge of the village. He sat on the pedestal for the rest of the day. The advantage of Munni sitting on the pedestal was that he could watch the highway and see the lorries and buses pass through to the hills, and it gave him a sense of belonging to a larger world. The pedestal of the statue was broad enough for him to move around as the sun traveled up and westward, or he could also crouch under the belly of the horse for shade. Now, then, it is important for us to understand the horse statue. Now, this statue of the horse was nearly life size, molded out of clay, baked, burnt, and brightly colored. The statue reared its head proudly, prancing its forelegs in the air and flourishing its tail in a loop behind. Besides the horse stood a warrior with skite-like mustachios, bulging eyes, and aquiline nose. Skite-like mustachios. The warrior had skite-like mustachios. Skite means a tool with curved blade, specially for cutting long grass. And aquiline means curved. So the statue, or the besides the horse statue, there was the statue of a warrior with skite-like mustachios, bulging eyes, and aquiline nose. The horse itself was said to have been as white as a dhobi washed sheet, and had on its back a cover of pure brocade of red and black lace. Okay, brocade here means a rich fabric woven with a raised pattern, typically with gold or silver thread. But no one in the village remembered the splendor of the statue, as no one noticed its existence. Even Munni, who spent all his day at the foot of the statue, never bothered to look up at the statue. It was untouched even by the young Vandals. Vandals are the people who deliberately destroy or damage property. So it was untouched even by the young Vandals of the village, who used to cut tree trunks with knives and tried to topple those tree trunks of milestones and inscribed lewd designs on all walls. This statue had been closer to the population of the village at one time, when this spot bordered the village. Now, when Munni was sitting on the pedestal of the statue, he watched his two goats graze in the arid soil among the cactus and lantana bushes. He looked at the sun. It had tilted westward, no doubt, but he knew that it was still not the time to go back home. And he was aware that if he went too early, his wife would have no food for him. So he thought that he must give his wife some time to calm down her temper and feel sympathetic, and then she would manage and make some arrangement to get some food. Now, as Munni sat there, he noticed a new sort of vehicle coming down at full speed. Now, this vehicle looked like both a motor car and a bus. He used to be very excited by such spectacles, but in the recent times he took it all casually and described to his wife all the things that he used to see passing through the highway, he used to observe them carefully, and he described later to his wife about it. Today, on that particular day, he observed a yellow vehicle coming down, and he did not know how to describe that vehicle to his wife because he was seeing such type of vehicle for the first time in his life. A red-faced foreigner who had been driving it got down and went round it, stooping, looking and poking under the vehicle. Then he straightened himself, looked at the dashboard, stared in Muni's direction, and approached towards Muni. So this foreigner, red-faced foreigner, was dressed in khaki clothes. And after getting down from his vehicle, he moved around his vehicle, stooping, looking, poking at the vehicle, and then he looked towards Muni and started approaching towards him. He said to Muni, "Excuse me, is there a gas station nearby? Or do I have to wait until another car comes?" He suddenly looked up at the clay horse, or the statue that was made out of clay, and he was taken aback by the grandeur, by the splendid beauty of the statue, and therefore he exclaims, "Marvelous." Now, the moment Muni saw this man, he felt that he should get up and run away because he felt the man to be a soldier or a policeman since he was dressed in khaki. Though Muni felt that he should stand up and run away from there, but he cursed his age because his limbs were too old to run. So in this video we do till here. In the next video we'll be continuing from here. Thank you for watching and stay blessed.